Now, we are now 1 day away from the 7th Commonwealth Youth Games, which is scheduled to begin tomorrow on August 4th. And so we're heading across to Tobago as we discuss the island's readiness in terms of their stadium and also the type of events that they will be hosting. And so joining me this morning, we have the chairman of the THA-appointed task force for the Commonwealth Youth Games, Mr. George Leacock, who will share with us some information. Mr. Leacock, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
And good morning, and thank you for having me. Everybody happy? Everybody ready?
Mr. Leacock, can you hear me? All right, I know you can. Yes, I know you can hear me. Yes, thank you. But I can't hear you right now, so I think we may need to circle back in again.
Okay.
And of course, that was Mr. George Leacock you were seeing on the screen here. Just a bit of technical difficulties we're getting, but I know that we are going to be checking in with him because, guys, tomorrow is the opening ceremony that is scheduled to take place at Hasty Crawford Stadium. And so I'm wondering what Tobago is doing as well. So I hope you can continue that conversation with Mr. Leacock.
Highly anticipating tomorrow's opening ceremony. Looking forward to, of course, being hosted in Trinidad and Tobago. But the talent that we have here is absolutely indescribable. And seeing all these different countries come together, I heard yesterday some teams have over 100.
Wow.
Athletes. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely looking forward to it. I mean, I know people are going to come out and bring their A game. And as we've been speaking to some of the athletes themselves, they've all been doing the work, getting prepared, and they have the nice support systems in place. And they say they've been getting the support that they need to be able to focus on preparing for the games. And I appreciate that. So big up to everybody who's been involved in making sure that the athletes are as comfortable as they can be to make sure that all of the things that they need to support them is in place so that they can just focus on getting that victory.
Yeah, I know one of the things that was coming down, one of the concerns we had, of course, would have been the readiness of the stadium, at least here in Trinidad. And I know that the Minister of Sport and Community Development, Shamfa Kanjog, she gave the assurance that the stadium, they are going to be ready. So we look forward to see how that's happening. Again, going back to the opening ceremony, because I know that they're going to be giving a taste of who we are in terms of Trinidad and Tobago. So I heard there's going to be cultural performances and they may have some moko jumbies and stuff. So it's going to be a fantastic time there tomorrow at Hasty Crawford Stadium, so you don't want to miss it. Tickets are available. I think you can go on the website to purchase tickets for the game. So yeah, tickets are available. So please check out the Commonwealth. No, there are some that you need to buy unless you have to read. No, yeah. Okay. There's a fee attached. There's a fee attached. A small fee. Nothing too grand. But you can go on the website and you can get tickets for Commonwealth Youth Games. So please go out and support.
So I mean, estimating $40, definitely go. Trust me, it's going to be.
Don't quote me on that.
I said estimating. That's why I said estimating.
Check the website.
Check the website.
Check the website, please.
Check the website.
But they've really been working so hard. I mean, I went past the stadium last night actually, around probably like 10:30, quarter to 11. And there were still people there, people preparing for what is going to be, of course, a historical event for Trinidad and Tobago. It's very exciting.
Yeah, man. I've been seeing the reels from the Ultimate Events Limited team as they've been putting together and preparing for the grand opening. And I know it's going to be amazing. I mean, the team, of course, they're no strangers to putting on events, massive events. So I expect that they will be able to deliver as they would have probably promised in their proposal or whatever that they would have submitted to get the contract to do it. So I know that they were definitely going to put their best foot forward. And today is their boss' birthday, so they were getting real bad.
Oh, this is Derek Lewis?
Dean Akin.
Dean Akin. Who is Derek Lewis again? He's from no. He has a company as well. I forgot. Ultimate Events or something like that? Ultimate Events is Dean as well. Yeah. All right. I will get it. The reason why I mentioned Derek Lewis is because he was at NEDCO yesterday and he was talking about just his story in terms of how island people came about. And actually island people came about from a racist remark he heard. It's a really, really amazing story. A racist remark he heard while he was playing soccer in the US. And while he was going on the field, they were throwing peanuts, they were throwing bananas, and they were shouting island people at him and some of his other colleagues who were also from the Caribbean. And so when he came back to Trinidad, he used the powerful island people, that sort of derogatory term, to create this amazing brand that people would have been associated with for years. And so Derek Lewis, good morning. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Yesterday, of course, to Anthony Chowlinon and all the others who were down there yesterday. And I know that NEDCO, they continue their entrepreneurship week. They continue that happening down there today. So, yeah. I guess we are going to see if we can head back in with Mr. Leacock. But for now, we're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us. Leacock? Mr.
Hello,
Leacock?
good morning.
Ah, yes, I
Yes,
can hear you now.
I was always hearing you.
I know, but we couldn't hear you. We had a problem on our end.
Mhm.
Tell them stand by.
Nice. What do you echo about? Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. And I do believe that we have Mr. Leacock, of course, George Leacock, the chairman of the THA-appointed Task Force for the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. Mr. Leacock, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning. I hope you're hearing me now.
Yes, I am hearing you loud and clear. Thank you so much for working with us and working through the difficulties. So happy to have you on this morning. I want to start off with the, tell us about in terms of Tobago's readiness for the Commonwealth Youth Games tomorrow. Let's start off with the opening ceremony. I know that we're supposed to be having one at the Hasely Crawford Stadium tomorrow. What is it going to look like in Tobago?
All right, so there must be some joke that we missed there in the You Hearing Me Now story, but I'd skip that and go to the opening ceremony scene that you asked. The opening ceremony is going to be a blended exercise. It's hopefully they don't have as many technical challenges as we had this morning. But what is expected, wow, couldn't help that. What is expected is that all of the teams who are in Tobago and 31 of the 80 plus teams that are traveling to Trinidad and Tobago, I say 80 plus and not an exact number, because I think there are one or two teams that may have had irretrievable flight challenges, very small numbers, sometimes small teams with, 3 or 4 people who are actually not going to make it to the games. But so it's 80 plus teams, and 31 of those teams are in Tobago. Those teams are hosted at the Magdalena and the Mount Irving Bay Hotel. Both hotels have been closed, so it's restricted really to the teams. The Trinidad and Tobago team is already here. Always have to give them their props.
Of course.
And they will be taken to the Shore Park complex where it's maybe we can call it a blended opening ceremony in that they would be able to view a lot of what is happening in Port of Spain on a big screen at Shore Park. And similarly, people in Port of Spain who are at the stadium for some portions of the event will have an opportunity to see what's happening in Tobago.
Nice.
So that's the story. Remember that overall, this really being hosted by Trinidad and Tobago. Half of the events are in Tobago, half of the events in Trinidad, and that includes the fact that the closing ceremony will be held in Tobago.
Yeah.
Quite an exercise, pretty dramatic. The fast ferry will bring to Tobago as many as the fast ferry can bring of the teams that are still in Trinidad at the end who want to participate in the closing ceremony. And basically, it's a special sailing put on for them. They will come into Tobago, enjoy the ceremony, and then return to Trinidad before they leave for their various homes all around 80 plus countries around the world.
Of course. And Mr. Leacock, let's talk about the events. Tell us the events that Tobago will be hosting and where it's going to be taking place on the island.
So at Shore Park, the netball will take place, and that's going to take place basically in the hall where you normally see cultural events and shows and things of that nature. Since the hall was constructed, there was a sport floor purchased for the hall. We've had to do some adjustments to the floor, and everybody who is seeing the adjustment done by a local artisan um, that we call the monk. Pretty much amazed that we were able to achieve that. And so netball is ready to go. They should have practice sessions starting maybe at about 10 o'clock this morning. The Trinidad and Tobago team did, in fact, practice on the facility last week. The permanent installations will be done and dusted in time for practice to start this morning. Right next door, the Shore Park Recreation Ground, that has hosted international cricket, at least from back in the early 60s. I take every opportunity to tell people that on one of those international cricket trips, Tobago actually beat the Toyin Australians in a one day at Shore Park, and that's going to host rugby. The building, all the associated buildings have been essentially gutted and refurbished completely. They good to go. The Tobago House of Assembly's philosophy has been to engage in those things that have legacy value, meaning that after the games, it will be ready for hosting a number of sporting events. It's one of the key areas that the track and field people use.
Mr. Leacock, I want to ask you quickly, because I know that we're almost out of time, unfortunately, but tell us about some of these. So we had to prepare for this game. Of course, a lot of eyes are going to be on us because we're coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're hosting this thing. And so did you encounter any challenges with getting this off the ground, whether it be from the readiness of the venues or even ushering in the athletes? Any sort of challenges you want to discuss?
Everything is a challenge. And we were equal to all of the challenges.
Yeah.
Getting the floor done, when we spoke to the international providers who built the floor, they said it couldn't be expanded. And we did that, and to the satisfaction of everybody. The visiting events facility expert for the Commonwealth Games asked to meet the man who did this expansion. It was amazing, and you probably have to see it. It's difficult to explain. Yeah. Getting all of it funded, getting the venue at Blackrock / Poland ready, including delivering there over the weekend 165 truckloads of sand. But we already advertising that we want the facility ready. Not very many permanent changes are done to Buku. The Buku boat racing facility will be the epicenter of the triathlon. The changeover takes place within the facility, and the winners come galloping, if I'm allowed to say that, down the very same track that the goats come down. And that has been a huge thing with our international visitors. First of all, finding out that there's something that's called goat racing. And then after that, realizing that they're going to get a chance to operate in the same space. And of course, that has led to a particular secret that will be part of the closing ceremony, which takes place on the final day. So we're ready. And while a lot of focus has been on facilities, what you have to bear in mind is that in getting ready, we had to train in excess of 300 volunteers. We even had to do some training for professionals who would be a part of the game, including the media. These games are under 18, and they're done under safeguarding rules intended to protect youngsters from any kind of abuse and all of that. And anybody who will interact with them had to be trained. That training has gone. In fact, there might even be a little bit of that training left today for some members of the media who have not yet got their accreditation, because you must have safeguarding training if you're going to go into the bubble that includes the athletes that participate in the games. So you could imagine, from catering to VIP accommodations, protocol, and all of that. It's a lot of stuff. And
it seems like it's a lot, Mr. Leacock, and I like that you're also issuing the call for the last-minute media officials who need to get their training as well. But before you go, just tell us the general feeling on the ground as it relates to people in Tobago. Are you feeling the excitement? Are they ready? Do they understand the impact of not just Tobago, but TNT hosting the 2023 edition?
Well, I suppose if you like me, you'd always wish that we had done more and we had done more earlier in terms of getting the vibes out. But um, I'm sure that over the last few days, for example, we've had a lot of people saying, I didn't apply to volunteer, but now that the excitement is coming and all of that, it's something that's new for Trinidad and Tobago. It's a junior sport meeting, so that we also have had quite a few more vendors wanting to find out about the opportunity to vend and so on. And a lot of them a little bit after the deadline that we set for doing certain things.
Yes.
But we will try to embrace and lean forward as far as practicable and as far as we are constrained with safeguarding to allow as many people as possible to experience it. The THA hosts a tour of the venue today. And in fact, we've invited a couple of hundred school children to the volleyball venue to observe for the first time. And the keys to the venue are going to be handed over to some responsible person who you might be talking to now to ensure that it is available to the Commonwealth Games Committee for the games over the next few days. Volleyball is going to be our longest. We have play every day for volleyball, while netball starts on Sunday. So there's a triathlon, 3 days of triathlon, and then after that we have rugby starting later in the day as well.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Leacock, let me thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy that we were able to work out our technical difficulties. We did not play a prank on you, I can promise you that. So thank you for joining us this morning. All the best with the games in Tobago, and we look forward to see what that closing ceremony is going to look like. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, I'm glad you're hearing me now.
Yes, and the country heard you as well, so thank you so much.
All right, and good morning to everybody who's been listening.
Take care, Mr. Leacock. And that was the chairman of the THA appointed task force for the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023, Mr. George Leacock. He's the chairman of the committee, just telling us about Tobago's readiness, and based on what he said, they are ready for the opening and closing, which begins, of course, the opening tomorrow. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.